Hi, this is Jason Nickleby, Assistant Director with the Minnesota State High School League, and this is basketball officiating training tape number 8. This is the last of our training tapes for the season. We've done a great job so far. We still have the postseason to go. Good luck to all of those who have postseason assignments. And for all of you, best wishes and a great off season. Stay healthy and safe. Proud of all of you. Bring somebody into the avocation. So we have some more folks next year, and we look forward to a great postseason, and we look forward to the 2024-2025 season. And also thanks to the coaches for a great year for taking these training tapes and the memos and taking them to heart and using them to better their craft as a coach as well. So again, when we're looking at these plays, not picking on any one official or crew or team or player, just trying to learn from these. And again, let's have great pre-games and really talk through a lot of these situations as we head into the postseason and give it our best effort. So with that, let's take a look at some plays. On this play, we have a dribble drive into the paint, and we're going to have solid verticality by the defensive player. We do a nice job of no calling that. The only thing I would say here is lead, resist the temptation to come onto the floor, because if that ball pops out of there, you're going to be right in the soup. So, like our positioning, do a nice job of no calling this contact with a vertical defender. And this is the first play of the game, and we're ready to officiate. So that's all really good. The other piece is anytime we have a held ball situation, make sure that not all three officials go in there, because if we do that, we don't have an official watching the players. We want to make sure that we're doing that. But overall, nice coverage. Just leads, stay on the end line, don't come onto the floor, and then only have two officials at most have a presence. But we do a nice job of having a physical presence, good dead ball officiating, good judgment on the verticality on this play. But overall, handled really well by the crew, ready to officiate on the first play and no calling this contact in the paint appropriately. On this one, we're going to have a dribble drive into the paint where the offensive player encounters a secondary defender. And remember that the lead is the primary official for ruling on contact involving a secondary defender. And this is really a tight play um, and a really tough one. But what I would say philosophy wise, leads is typically players on defense get there on time. It's pretty unusual for them to be late. They usually get there on time. So if we're not sure and we 50-50, let's call it as a charge. We're going to be right more often than not. Um, Again, this play is really tight, about as tight as they get. And if you uh, take a look at the replay here, and again, the lead is in great position, very nice mechanics. Again, we need to get legal guarding position established prior to this player leaving the ground. It's not the same as the college rule. And if you look at this, it appears that his toes get down on the ground as this player is taking off, and we have a run over. So we need a call of some kind. And if the lead would call a block here, I would totally understand that and totally support it. Again, this is about as 50-50 of a play as we get. And again, if we're 50-50 or not sure, we probably should be calling an offensive foul, and that's what we do here. So the key is, as the lead, picking up the secondary defender, do they establish legal guarding position? If so, where do they establish it? And then once they establish legal guarding position, do they maintain it legally? In this case, really, really tight. Again, if he would have called a block, totally would get that. But I would prefer an offensive foul in this particular play for how tight it is. And we do just a nice job of our mechanics and our judgment. And again, don't get fooled by that right foot taking a little step at the end. as long as we establish it, we can take a step with that other foot, and that's not a big deal. It's if we move that whole body into the shooter, and I don't think that happens here. So again, lead, responsible for this play, secondary defender, picking up legal guardian position and so on. We're in great position, make a good solid call. Well done by the lead in this play. Another player control foul on this play. We're in transition. The officials come down and get in good initial position to view this play. And again, this is the lead's responsibility, and we do a nice job of being stationary, picking this up, and I like our mechanics. The only thing I would consider, center, is do we have an arm bar on 50 as he's driving in there on this particular play? That's the only thing I would throw out there. He does throw his arm out there to try to impede the progress of the ball handler. So probably would prefer a foul on number 50 here. But if we don't call a foul on number 50, then this is certainly an offensive foul because he has established legal guarding position and then he plays through his torso and is properly called for an offensive foul by the lead. So um, let's be diligent about watching for arm bars, bumping dribblers as they're going to the basket. Not as much east-west, but if we're going north-south right at the basket and we arm bar them or hip check them, let's get that as a foul on the defense. Probably could have got that on 50 here, but if we don't, this is certainly an offensive foul, and we handle it appropriately with our mechanics here. So good job by the lead. Good positioning, good judgment of the play that he needs to have, good close down, just overall well done here by the lead. So um, again, make sure we don't let them bump dribblers, arm bar, hip check, etc. Let's get those early in the drive. If not, this is certainly an offensive foul. On this play sequence, we are going to have um, some contact, and then we ultimately have a shove out of bounds right in front of the basket. Um, so we have a a foul that's called prior to this contact. Um, the one thing I would suggest or comment on is try to get the first foul. If they're trying to foul, just give it to them. We do here, but sometimes if we don't call that first foul, that initial foul, like right here at the top, if we can get that potentially, but number two, that foul gets harder, and then the next foul becomes harder, and so on, because they feel like they need to foul harder to get the attention of the officials. So um, we get the first foul here, I believe, so that's good, but just make sure we get the first foul so that it doesn't uh, end up in a situation where we could have avoided some excessive or hard contact um, by calling the first foul. And then when we get together and talk as a crew, let's send the teams to the benches because we talked as a crew, which is great. We want to do that, but we had our backs to all the players and we're not sure what they're doing. Let's send them to the benches, then have the conversation away from the bench area, and then we can have a conversation about what we want to do here. And then we ultimately decide that this is a technical foul. Um, excuse me, that's totally fine. We can do that. Um, then we're going to go in the order of occurrence. So we're going with the common foul, shoot those free throws, then we shoot the technical free throws, and then we will put the ball in bounds at midcourt. So overall, handled pretty well by the crew. The only thing, again, I would mention is um, call the first foul. Secondly, when we have conversations as a crew, let's that might be prolonged. and it's going to be involving all three officials, let's send the teams to the benches. That way we don't have our back to players. And then when we make a decision, we can pull both coaches together, give them the explanation and the PA as necessary, and then we can move forward with the game as we do here. So overall, handled well by the crew. On this play, we have a transition play, not a lot of time left, so they're trying to foul, trying to stop the drive and so forth. And we're going to have a pretty big collision right around midcourt that we no call. And when we have contact of this nature, this is not a no call. We have to have a whistle of some kind, offensive foul, block, whatever the case may be. We have to put air and whistle when we have contact of this nature. And I would say when it's in transition like this up the floor, probably the person that's going to have the best shot is the center looking across the court, picking up that defender. Do they establish legal guardian position prior to contact? Um, and it's a tough play, but there's significant contact, and we need to have a whistle. And I would say the way that it develops, this is probably a blocking foul. He doesn't quite get legal guardian position in time, but it's certainly not a no call. It's enough contact that we need to call. And just mechanically, where we're looking, Trail, you could pick it up, but I really believe that C has the best chance um, at this play, uh, just because they're straight up with that defender and can see if they establish legal guardian position or not. But um, coverage wise, think about this: a play across the court in transitions, probably the C's play, even though it's not in their primary coverage, so to speak. It's probably their play to get, and then just make sure anytime we have contact of this nature, let's put air in the whistle and let's have a blocker charge, one or the other. We can't no call contact that's this significant. On this play, we're in the front court. We're in good position as a crew. Um, like our positioning as trail right at the 28-foot mark, and we're in great position to view this contact. First thing I would say on the entry pass, let's be aware of the defender and whether they play through the offensive player. It seems like he is displaced at the block, so this probably should be a foul that's called. We're looking right at it, so I like our positioning and our vision. So that's really good. But let's be aware of defenders that aren't in good defensive position that play through offensive players like this on entry passes, and make sure that we don't allow this to get more physical than really that it needs to be. But we're in good position. Just keep that in mind. And then on this next action, again, the trail, great position, looking right at it. And it appears that the defender establishes legal guardian position and then is played through his chest. And again, when the defender establishes that position, um, on on this player and he can see him, then there's no time or distance factor in this case. So when he plays through his chest like this, it probably should be an offensive foul. Now it happens really quickly. Again, tough play in real time, but it appears that the defender gets legal guard position, and this should be an offensive foul. But keep in mind on entry passes, make sure that defenders don't play through the back of legal offensive players. And then again, try to pick up defenders. Do they establish legal guardian position prior to contact? And then do they maintain it legally? And if they do, it should be an offensive foul. And I think that's what happens in this case. Again, tough play, but officials are in good position to rule. Okay, on this one, we're going to have a steal. And these are really hard, these pick six type plays. You just do the best you can and officiate it from quite a ways away. Again, we're going to, in our front court positioning, we're going to play the odds and work low and officiate the majority of the plays. And then when plays like this happen, we just have to hustle and get in the best position we can and officiate it uh, to the best of our ability. And we're gonna miss things down here in transition like this when it goes this fast. But I just want to point out that even though it happens, so quickly, we still need to pick up what the ball handler is doing and don't get caught off guard. We go left, right, left, and then a layup attempt. So this is clearly a traveling violation. Again, if they pick up the pivot foot, put it back down before shooting or passing, this should be a traveling violation. And this is a pretty obvious one we want to get. Um, he misses the shot, so it really doesn't affect anything in the long run, but um, he goes from the 3-point line almost all the way to the basket without dribbling. And so just even though we had a pick six and a quick transition, don't get caught off guard. Be prepared for this kind of thing. Officiate it to the best of your ability. Hustle down there. Get stationary when you need to. Um, but don't get caught off guard by them doing something that's unusual. In this case, picking up the dribble at the dribble at the 3-point line and then taking a shot. So this is traveling and one we want called. On this one, we have a dribble drive into the paint. Center, I need you down at the free throw line extended to help on this particular play. Um, I think we have two trails, and again, we've talked about we would much rather have two C's than two trails. So let's get lower so we can officiate this play. And regardless of who's the trail and who's the C, neither one of us are in the right position. So let's get to the right front court position and then officiate from there. And then it appears that on this play, we definitely have a bump of the dribbler, an arm bar right into him. So this is definitely a foul, definitely one we want called, but it shouldn't come from lead. This foul occurs at the 3-point line, and we don't have a whistle from trail or C on this play, and it comes from lead, and then we have a throw in. So primary coverage areas, who's responsible for what? Again, in this play, the dribble drive originates from the C's area, becoming the new trail, and we need to pick up that dribble action all the way into the paint. And then once it gets into the paint, we can defer to the lead, but the lead picks this up, and this is way too far away from the lead to be picking up. This is an arm bar call that we do want. This is definitely a foul, so that's good, but this foul should come from the trail or center in this particular play, and it shouldn't get all the way into the paint before the lead makes this call. On this inbounds play, notice the contact at the left side of the screen that the lead picks up, and this is excellent off-ball officiating, good positioning, and just a nice job of picking this up. We have a legal screen that the defender plays through his chest and pushes through him to get to the offensive player he's guarding and is properly called for an off ball foul. So this is excellent positioning and mechanics, good judgment. Good job of picking this up and not ball watching. So just a really nice job of officiating by the lead in this play, picking up this defensive player pushing through the screen. On this transition play, we're going to have a dribble drive into the paint and a deflection that goes out of bounds, and the lead is going to give it to the defense, and the C is going to come with information. They're going to have a discussion, and the lead is going to change the call and give it back to the offense. So this is outstanding help mechanics. This is exactly how it should be done. We hustle down, we get in correct position, and then we come in with information. And typically, if we come with information to change an out of bounds play, we're going to change it. Don't come if you think. We're only coming if we know. So if we know, as a partner, I know if they're coming to me, we're going to change it. But only come if you absolutely know that it should change. Don't come with I think or I wonder about. If you know, then come with information, and then the calling official, the lead in this case, will make the change. So really well done getting in position, good help mechanics, nice job of the calling official making the change on this play. And I have no idea if it's right or not, but it certainly is believable based on how we handled our mechanics and our communication. So well done by the crew on this play on utilizing help mechanics to get the play right. Transition play here, and we do a nice job of getting into proper position, and we're going to have a blocking foul against this secondary defender in transition. So um, again, we're in good position. We use nice spot mechanics. Um, good job of indicating what we have and selling it. That's all good. The only thing I would say is I think this defender establishes the go guarding position prior to this player, leaving the ground. Again, as we talked about on a previous play, typically the defenders they do get there in time. It's pretty unusual in a play like this for them not to, and it does appear that she does get there in time um, for an offensive foul. Again, tough play, understand, 50-50, and we make a call, and I'm supportive of that. That's great. But as we talked about earlier, when we're 50-50 on plays like this and we're going to put air in the whistle, let's go with an offensive foul. We're going to be right more than we're wrong. And I think an offensive foul would have been the correct call in this particular play, but we're in really good positioning as a crew, and we use really nice spot mechanics, and we sell our call. Just try to pick up that defender and see what they do so that we can try to be accurate relative to block charge. On this play in the front court, we have a ball that's deflected out to mid court, and we come out to officiate that, which I get. But let's get back down into our proper front court positioning. So get back to free throw line extended, get back to the 28-foot mark, and officiate from there. And this is the first possession of the game, and we need to be ready to officiate. And we have pretty significant contact in the paint. And as we talked about in a previous play, contact of this nature that's this significant is not a no call. We need to um, pick one. And as we've talked about in a couple plays already, if we're 50-50 block charge, let's call it an offensive foul. But um, we're in good position. We're this is the lead's responsibility, but we can't no call contact of this nature if they play through their chest. They've established the go guarding position. It's outside the restricted area. Then we need to call it as an offensive foul. And again, it would be the lead's primary responsibility. So, couple things to consider: our positioning, and then when we have significant contact, we need to put air in the whistle and make a call. In this particular case, I believe an offensive foul would have been the proper ruling. Okay, on the last play of our training tape series for the 2023-24 season, I think we have one of the toughest plays of the 23-24 season. So I think it's a really good one to end on, and it just proves how difficult officiating basketball really is. And if it were easy, everyone would do it. Um, but all of those that do officiate step up every game, every day to do the best job that they can to provide the kids opportunities to play. So appreciate all of you and your efforts. And this is a play that demonstrates just how difficult officiating basketball really is. This is about as tough of a block charge play as they get. We call an offensive foul here, as we talked about earlier, 50-50, call an offensive foul, and I think you're going to be right more often than you're not. Um, and I don't know that I could say if this play is right or not right. Again, this is right on the line of 50-50, really tough play. Um, the only thing I would maybe suggest is, maybe lead, um, should have primary on this as it's going, the dribble drive is going away from trail. But we need to pick up the defender. Do they establish legal guard position? Does the dribbler get their head and shoulders or their head past the shoulders, head and shoulders past the uh, defensive player here? If they do, then it would be a blocking foul. But if they don't and play through their torso, then we'd have an offensive foul. So again, really difficult play. Um, totally fine with an offensive foul. Would have understood a block. Maybe the lead should take it. Hard to say. Really tough play. Again, if officiating was easy, everyone would do it. I'm so proud of officials in Minnesota and across the country who give up their time with their family and work and other obligations to be officials and to go out and make calls. And we're not going to get them all right, but we do the best job that we can every night. So keep up the good work out there. Best wishes and good luck in the postseason to all of you.